Okay, so we're looking at a quiz to see how you're going with your knowledge on Pythagoras. You obviously mightn't have done Pythagoras for a little while, but you need to just make sure you do know. So we've got about 9 pages of questions, so we'll go through them at your pace. So first of all, first question is, how do you know that the triangle below is right angles? So write down a couple of reasons why that is the case, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so first of all, we have to say it's a triangle, so it has 3 sides. So there's a 3-sided figure, so that's a triangle, and there's a right angle indicated. Right angle indicated by the little box in the corner. So you have to give 2 reasons. It's got 3 sides, prove it's a triangle, and it's got a right angle included by the box. Okay, so you go to the next question. Okay, so in this next question you have to identify the hypotenuse on the following triangles. So just indicate it with a cross or something like that, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so the clue is the box, okay, and opposite the box is the hypotenuse. So opposite, and opposite. Okay, so they're the hypotenuse, and you should have marked it with a X or something like that. So you go to the right angle and go opposite, and that's the hypotenuse, and hopefully you know that the hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right angle triangle. That's the important thing. Hypotenuse is always it. So okay, ready to move? We'll go next. Okay, so write down Pythagoras' theorem, the formula for the following right angle triangles. Okay, so 2 cases, one with numbers on the sides and one with vertices. So can you write down your answers for those 2, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so right angle opposite, so that's the hypotenuse, and so the hypotenuse squared equals the sum of the squares of the other 2 sides. Okay, so in the second one, go opposite, so that's the hypotenuse, and that side is AC, this side is AB, and this side is BC. So AC squared equals AB squared plus BC squared. Okay, hopefully you did okay. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, so now we're going to find, using a calculator, some numbers for these sides, and I want you to go to correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, so can you have a go? Just remember, the thing you're looking for is the side that's missing, the longer side, or is it a shorter side? That'll give you a clue if you got the right formula. Okay, pause, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so we've got the right angle. So the hypotenuse is 8, which 8 is the biggest number, so x has to be smaller than 8, which means we're going to do a subtraction. So x squared will equal 8 squared minus 3 squared equals 64 minus 9 equals 55. So x equals the square root of 55, and that's the exact answer. Exact answer is square root of 55. But I want to 1 decimal place, so in the calculator, just get square root of 55 and round to 1 decimal place. So that's 7.4. Now I didn't put any units, so just put U for units. Okay, I didn't indicate centimeters, but just put U for units because you're measuring length. Okay, looking at the second one, right angle opposite is the hypotenuse. That's the longest side, so it has to be bigger than 4 and 6, so we have to add. So x squared equals 2 squared plus 4 squared, or 4 squared plus 2 squared. 4 plus 16 equals 20. So x equals the square root of 20, and that's the exact answer. But I want to 1 decimal place, so the square root of 20 to 1 decimal place is 4.47, which is 4.5, and I didn't put units, so I just put U for units. So 4.47 equals 4.5, that's just a rounding skill. So there's exact answers with the surds, and then there's decimal places. So when you're ready, come to the next slide. Okay, so this time I want you to find the exact value. Okay, so no decimal places, so when you're ready, have a go and come back live. Okay, we've got the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is longest side, which means that the unknown is smaller can't be bigger, so it must be less than 6. So we have to subtract. So x squared equals 6 squared minus 3 squared, 36 minus 9 equals 27. So x equals the square root of 27, and that's the exact answer. And again, I'm not sure what we'll do, but theoretically, we could simplify that because 9 times 3 is 27, so the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. So strictly speaking, the answer is exactly 3 root 3, but we'll let you know if you need to simplify your surds. But root 27 actually equals 3 root 3 because you've done the topic on surds. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Okay, which of the following triangles are right angle triangles? Okay, so you have to use your knowledge about Pythagoras' theorem, okay, and see how you go, and come back live when you're ready. Okay, that's the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. So if it was going to be a right angle triangle, 3 squared would have to equal 1 squared plus 2 squared, and 3 squared is 9, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 9 equals 5. No, it does not. Therefore, it's not a right angle triangle. Okay, so looking at the next one. Okay, right angle opposite, so that's the hypotenuse. So if it was going to be, then root 5 squared would have to equal root 3 squared plus root 2 squared. Now when you square root, you get, so it's not an equal sign. So on your calculator, when you square root it and then you square, you get the number. And when you square a square root, you get the number. And when you square a square root, you get the number. Does 5 equal 5? Yes, it does. So therefore, it is a right angle triangle. Okay, so just remember when you square a square root, you just get the number inside the square root. Okay, a couple more to go. So what is a Pythagorean triad? So that was a whole exercise we did on one of those videos. So just if you can just write a sentence down, that'd be great. And when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so triad is any 3 numbers that fits Pythagoras' theorem. So example 3, 4, 5. 5 squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared. 25 equals 9 plus 16. 25 equals 25. So that's true. So that means that is a triad. So on the previous one, there was one triad and one not triad. Okay, ready to go, and we'll go to the next question. So we just got a couple of word questions to finish off with. So question 8, x is out here. So you see, can you see a right angle triangle? And the answer is yes, you can. Okay, so have a go when you're ready. Okay, so let's change colours. Just ignore what you don't want. Okay, so there's a 3 there, there's a 5 there, and that's the unknown, so don't worry about the line you don't need. That's the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. So you have to add, so x squared equals 3 squared plus 5 squared, 9 plus 25, 34. So this time we'll leave it as a, no we don't, we've got 2 decimal places. So square root of 34 equals 5.83 units. Okay, pretty straightforward. And the last question, draw a rectangle that has a diagonal of root 5 or root 10. So this one's a little bit harder, you have to put some reasoning into it. Again, I'm not sure that you might be able to do it, but think about it and see if you can work it out. Okay, so in the first one, so we need a rectangle, and that side is root 5. So that means that that's the hypotenuse. So root 5 squared equals something squared plus something squared. So root 5 squared is 5. Now, think of two numbers that add to 5. So, for instance, 1 plus 4 equals 5. So that means that a squared equals 1. So a is 1. B squared equals 4. So b equals 2 squared 4. So any two numbers that add to 5, and then you square root. Another example could have been 5 equals 2 plus 3. So the rectangle would have been root 2 and root 3. So something like that. So in the second one, so that's root 10. So root 10 squared equals a squared plus b squared. So back over here, that's a, b. So 10 equals a squared plus b squared. For instance, 1 plus 9 is 10. So a equals 1, b equals 3. Could have had 3 and 7. So a equals root 3, b equals root 7. So anything like that. Could have had 5 plus 5. So you could have had a square, root 5, and root 5. And I think that's the last one. So hopefully you've done okay in that quiz. If you haven't, then you need to practice some more Pythagoras. Okay, thanks.